moments away from the start. Dick Johnson and Peter Brock on the front row of the grid for Heat 1. The start here is going to be critical. Dick Johnson watching the starter. They get the green light. Johnson and Brock both get the power down at the same time, but Brock has made an absolute flyer, and Craig Lowndes has followed him through into second position. To the pole man, Johnson gets shuffled back in the pack to third. Seaton up to fourth. Wayne Gardner in fifth. They come through the carousel for the first time. Big V8 pack sorting itself out as they swing up the hill. It's Brock from Lowndes and Johnson in third position. A nice clean start to Heat 1. The crowd going crazy as they swing through under Dunlop Bridge, 200 kilometres an hour across this daunting part of the back part of the circuit, braking hard for Hungry Corner and up toward the loop for the first time. Well, it takes a couple of laps usually for the Bridgestones to come on to steam, and the Dunlops are usually in straight away, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Dick's all over Craig, and but very hard to pass here. Good start by Dick, but the other two were just too sharp. Maybe he should have stayed up last night and practiced. Coming across the start-finish line for the first time. 22 laps. Peter Brock in command from his teammate Craig Lowndes, and Dick Johnson in third position. V8's very quick at Lakeside this weekend. The top 7 under the official lap record. Johnson, of course, sitting. Oh, Johnson gets very, very sideways as he turns into the carousel. That time caught it. Bit of oversteer coming out of the carousel too. He's really pushing this Falcon hard as he tries to close the gap to the HRT Commodores. Well, Dick would be quite angry at the moment. Pole position, perfect place to be, good start. Probably guarantee you're going to lead the race from start to finish, and he didn't get a good start. The two HRT cars had him covered, so now he has to calm down, regain his composure and get off after them, and hope one of them makes his mistake and get by. Oh, black flag being held out here. Can't see what number car that is, but someone's probably jumped the start. Yeah. We'll get a look at that number a bit later on. John Bowe, meanwhile, coming under pressure from the pack leader Falcon of Alan Jones. Jones was very quick here in practice yesterday. He was actually topping the timesheets in the second unofficial session. And we believe it's car 46. That's John Faulkner, privateer. So John will be heading in for a stop-go penalty fairly shortly. Tyre engineers yesterday from all three companies were in a bit of a quandary as to just how conservative or how aggressive they could go on tyre compounds with the rain up here. They were confident that a lot of the rubber had been washed off the circuit and it was going to be a lot tougher on tyres. So we'll have to see how that emerges. That situation emerges as the race unfolds. There's our positions. Brock, Lowndes, Johnson. Seaton getting closer to Johnson. Gardner, strong fifth position. Is our championship leader. Bowe back there in sixth with Jones, Perkins, Scaife and Romano behind them. 5 laps down, 6 laps down as they come across the start-finish line this time around, opening up a bit more of a gap to Johnson. We'll check that gap as they come across the line this time through. Seaton was closing on Johnson in those opening laps, but it's just locked into a stationary position there. Alan Jones really trying to get on the tail of John Bowe too. Well, Bowe actually looks to be running around in the middle of the road a little bit, and which means that AJ's certainly threatening. He's all over the back of him. And they're not that far away from Gardner, who really, compared to the result they got up here last year, they had a lot of trouble with the car, and the car's doing really well. Wally Story and Neil Crompton came up later on in the year and did a bit of testing for a couple of days with shock absorbers and such, and this is a very, very difficult circuit. It's very rough. As you watch the cars run around, you see the front of them porpoising up and down, and it's a little unlike a lot of other circuits in Australia, so you really need to set your car up for Lakeside. As you can see, the front of the car's bouncing around there now. Well, as Dick Johnson was saying earlier, this track has the highest lap average speed of any track in Australia, including Mount Panorama. Not quite so power sensitive because it's a real momentum sort of track. And definitely a driver's track. It's very rewarding when you're racing here and you get the most out of the car. There's an element of danger because the fences are so close to the side of the circuit, and as Dick said, very, very high average, and so you're on the full throttle a lot of the time. But they're going through now a very fast part of the circuit. Watching the battle between John Bowe, our championship leader, and Alan Jones. This is the battle for 6th and 7th. HRT, meanwhile, at the front, they've opened up a gap 2.9, almost 3 seconds over Johnson that time around, with 8 laps completed this time around. So they really are in a charge. I know Brocky was pretty disappointed not taking pole position here yesterday. He just about had it sewn up until Johnson pulled out an absolute blinder in the last few minutes of qualifying. And it would have been nice. It's been something like 10 years since a Commodore's been on pole position at Lakeside for a touring car round, and Brock really wanted that one under his hat as well. But they're certainly making up for it in the race, opening the gap over Johnson, now pole position man. Check them out on the Shell Race Score. HRT Steamroller up front with Johnson in third, Glenn Seaton in fourth, and Wayne Gardner in fifth position. Don't go away. There's plenty more happening at Lakeside in just a moment.